everyone. Welcome to 2RightAngles, your guide to creative advertising and junior advertising portfolios. We're your hosts. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Francesca. We are the two women behind Book 180, the first global 6-month all online 100% female owned portfolio school. Every show is going to feature two creative industry leaders discussing their current favorite work out in the world, and then we're going to review a junior creative portfolio together.
So join us as we highlight good work, great agencies, and ways to improve your portfolio so you can land your dream job in advertising. So this episode's guests are Peter McCormick and Caitlin Madlinger. They're a senior team at BBDO Chicago. They do a bunch of fun work on brands like M&M's, Kerrygold, Jack Daniels, Orbitz, all kinds of things. We're really lucky to have them here.
Yeah, welcome guys. We're so excited and let's get into it.
So how have you guys been? Peter, it's been a minute since we've talked.
I know you really hooked it up for my first internship at BBDO. I feel like you were like my gateway into here. And I mean, I've been here it's coming up on 4 years, which is like the longest I've ever been somewhere. And I mean, I love it. Found a great work partner and, you know, we've been making some awesome work and it's been I think I would say 2025 is like the best year of my career yet. So just excited to keep the momentum going and yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, things are good. We're coming back refreshed from a nice long kind of time off. So ready to hit the ground running and do some more creative work.
Yeah.
What accounts are you guys like working on mostly right now?
We're doing a lot. M&M's has been like new for us, which is really fun. We were on a lot of like Brown Forman. So like that includes like Jack Daniels, like Herradura, Woodford.
Yeah.
What else are we on?
Some gum stuff, you know, Orbit Extra, that kind of world. But Kerrygold, yeah, some butter. That one's fun.
When we won that pitch, I was there and they gave everybody free cheese. It was really great.
Oh, you were there when they won the pitch. Nice.
Like a pretty iconic Christmas package every year to everybody who works on the brand. So it's a small perk.
It's great. It was great. Well, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're stoked to talk to you and to kind of hear about what you're loving out in the world right now. Is there a piece of work that either you've done or your agency's done or that you've just seen that you are loving?
Well, we have different answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say we have similar tastes, but also very different interests, which I think also kind of makes us compatible. So Peter can go first.
I really love I love just like keeping up like with Love the Work, you know, the website and like seeing what's winning, what is like considered the best in the industry. And I love The Other Hand from Cheetos.
Can't wait to taste it. Here we go.
Have you ever thought about which hand you use to eat Cheetos? No? Well, we did. It turns out that 99% of people eat Cheetos with their dominant hand, which means they have to do everything else with their other hand. Even barbers.
What do you think?
Sketch artists.
Mr. Guy?
Dart players. Bakers. Football players. And even plastic surgeons.
How's it look?
Even drivers in New York City.
So we saw this, right? What the hell?
Even out-of-home installers and calligraphers and photographers and illustrators and even the operator of the Las Vegas Sphere. Even advertising copywriters, even NBA champion Jamal Murray missing on high fives. Even the best font designers in the world who designed the worst font in the world that people actually downloaded and used. Even package designers.
Yo, there's a misprint hot Cheeto bag
even people doing other hand challenges on social media. Even case study editors. Okay, I think we've proved our point. The entire campaign made people think about the way they eat Cheetos, which made them think about eating Cheetos, which made them buy more Cheetos. Using your other hand, it's a Cheetos thing.
Cheetos. That's a good one.
Cheetos. And then like you could just iterate on that like endlessly. And that's like exactly what they did. Like the films were so funny of like, you know, messy barber cuts or like a really bad like police sketch artist who's like drawing some janky like, you know, suspect with his left hand. Like you know, the stunts and the out of home, they made a whole like typeface of the really ugly font of like your non-dominant hand. So like the whole like just owning your other hand like from, you know, eating Cheetos is just so stupid, simple, but also like so novel that like, you know, it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that yet? I fell in love with that.
Yeah, it is so fun. And those ideas that make you say, I wish I'd thought of that are the best ideas.
Yeah, 100%.
What about you?
So anytime anyone asks me this question, I like to answer with things that like I've seen out in the world that actually, you know, I was targeted by, or something that like as a consumer resonated with me. I really liked the North Face Never Fear the Forecast campaign. I don't know if you've seen it. It was really simple, which is, I think, one of the best things about it. But essentially, the campaign is just 6-second social spots with these kind of absurd but also realistic moments of people outside in extreme weather just kind of chilling wearing North Face. So the one that I saw first was a group of people playing chess like in the snow, so nonchalant, all wearing North Face. And it was just really tastefully done. One line, never fear the forecast, really simple. Culturally relevant too, with like the kind of insane climate, you know, things that are happening, extreme climate everywhere. Beautiful. The art direction, you know, I'm obviously attracted to. Really tasteful art direction. So I thought it was just like a really simple, really smart way to do short form content, and they weren't trying to do too much either, which I think can be a temptation. We're all kind of always trying to do too much. So I really appreciated how simple and straightforward and clear the idea is. And it also spoke to the functionality of the product. Like, you know, it's extreme weather gear, and it's going to last you in this extreme weather that is inevitable in our future, right? So I thought it was beautiful, cinematic, made a lot of sense, and it was just cool. Like, I felt like I could resonate with that as a brand and those visuals specifically too.
Yeah, I love that. And kudos to North Face too for not making the agency put too much into the work. They kept
right.
So that's where the struggle comes in, is when they're like, what about also this product benefit we should talk about?
Right. Yeah, it was really clear. I think that's what I appreciated in the simplicity. It was really elegant, really clear, and really tastefully done.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do too, I think. You know, with, to your point, all of these asks and expectations, but yeah, really direct.
And they even do the like opening on a logo, like in a not like cheesy way. Like
Peter, and I was like, they open on the logo in such a smart way. Like it was just a macro shot of the logo on a jacket, and then it zoomed out and
I love
the snow.
Yeah, that's
awesome. So simple.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, maybe we'll see some simple work from Sarah today. So we're going to review the book of Sarah Hierholzer. She is a copywriter in Chicago, and she is actually at her current agency. They've let her kind of transition into a copywriting role. She was working there before Book 180 and through Book 180. So they've let her transition to copywriting there. She would love one day to work in more of an agency world, but I think she's loving just being a copywriter right now in Chicago. So, but we really loved her as a student. Like she's one, so kind, so proactive about like wanting to get good feedback for her book, wanting to make sure that she was tracking where she should be, really good partner, just a good person and a good creative all around. I'll go ahead and share my screen here.
That is everything in our
that
jobs.
comes through in the Suits theme as well. So
yeah, I love her theme. So what was y'all's reaction when you first saw her homepage here?
You know, like I love a little website thing. Like I think that is what helps you stand out. You know, I didn't have that when I was a student, and I kind of wish I did. I think like there's a phase in your career where like maybe you like transition out of it, but definitely getting started. I think like this is just like it shows personality, like it shows who you are, and you know, because the ultimate purpose of this like is to get hired. So I loved it.
I liked that it made sense for her too. It brought me straight to her about page, and reading a little bit more. You know, I think she said that she bakes, right?
Yeah.
she loves it.
Yeah, so I was like, I love that kind of gave me a little bit of insight into who she is as a person. And to Peter's point, I think it gives you something that, you know, could potentially be a little bit memorable. You're like, oh, that's the woman with the cakes on her profile. Like, you know, it's kind of memorable device. So I thought it was nice. I think it made a lot of sense for her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also loved like how much thought she put into her About Me page in general. Like the line, I walked up straight to this girl, brazenly said, "Don't mess with Texas from Arkansas." Like that made me laugh out loud the first time I read it.
Yeah.
I laughed at that too. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to write my own about page, and I'm like staring at the computer for an hour just to result in like Caitlin, art director, Chicago. Like, so kudos. It's no easy feat.
For sure.
Yeah, especially as a writer, like anytime you get to flex like that, like is, you know, there's never a bad opportunity to like have some fun with your copy. And that was one of the first lessons like I learned is just like it sounds so basic of like just have fun with it, but like I think Sarah really embodies that in her and how she presents herself. So kudos.
It gives you a little bit of insight too into like who she is as a writer and maybe what kind of tone she's into, which also obviously shows through in some of the work. So I thought that was a cool bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah. And that's such a good point you guys have made too with like have fun with it. We tell students that all the time because I mean, I'm sure you remember putting your first book together and you get so stressed and so in the weeds about like, am I checking all the right boxes? Is this like too formal and not formal enough? And Francesca and I are always harping on just like, please just like have fun with it. Like if you're having fun, the recruiter will be able to tell that you like it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's cool that it's fun and still functional too, because obviously like we're going through books really fast. It's not confusing, you know, like it adds that layer of personality without distracting from the functionality of the site itself.
Totally. That's actually so huge. Like I've seen sites that are from students that are like just confusing to like operate or like I don't get it, you know, and it's just like I'm like, okay, I just kind of need to see the work at a certain point. So I love how this is still able to do that. And like, you know, I immediately know what the brands are. Like I know something about her that's fun, but I can just kind of dive into quickly.
All right, so this is the work that Sarah and her team did for Craigslist. And essentially, like, Craigslist still exists, which I was even surprised when the instructor, like, assigned this brief. And I was like, is that even a thing people still go to? But it is. And it was kind of like, let's try and make Craigslist relevant when, you know, Facebook Marketplace and, you know, Temu and Etsy and all of these other quick buying apps and websites are like, taking center stage. So this team found this interesting insight that Craigslist is actually sort of like a decentralized, like non-algorithmic way to just like search for things you want to search for. Like there's not going to be like any ads or targeting. So it's directly money exchange directly from buyer to seller. And it kind of keeps it away from the billionaires that own these other bigger sites. So Craigslist is kind of like the ultimate FU to capitalism. So
It's like
It worked for the target.
Amazon type of.
Exactly. F Amazon, F Facebook. So here is the first like piece in the campaign where it'd be like a repasting of posters. We'll go through it and read some of the headlines. So no box for Zuck, stock at 2 no prime required, wage against the machine, dividends have met their end. You don't need a lighter to spark a movement.
Yeah, I the first thing for me like was just how different it is for Craigslist, like, but in a really cool way. Like, I think you would never expect Craigslist to kind of like be this bold and be this like, have this much tension and what is essentially like what you said. It's like a Facebook marketplace, but a little outdated and maybe not relevant. Obviously, there's like a huge conversation around this right now. There's like a lot of like social movements, and I think this just right off the bat does a good job like tapping into that. Caitlin, what do you think though?
Yeah, I think that was the first thing that stood out to me. It was like, oh, she's tapped in. Like, obviously, this is a huge social conversation happening right now. So I appreciated that it kind of, leaned on something that is culturally relevant. I think that's always a good place to start for campaigns and insights and everything. I thought some of the headlines were really smart too. I do appreciate when it's broken up a little bit like this so I can kind of digest it a bit more. But it's a really impactful way to appeal to something that a lot of people care about right now. So I think that was smart to go at it at that angle.
Yeah, I like the art direction too. I think it's like it feels like they're living together well, and I feel like it would be weird if it was like cutesy,
Right.
for Craigslist.
Yeah.
So the comp choice and like the all of that is like it puts me in the right mind state.
Yeah, even like the kind of context of some of the mock-ups, like you can tell it's in these like really urban environments. I think that is relevant as well. It makes it feel a bit more real. So yeah, I thought I appreciated how bold it was. It's definitely something that's memorable, which, I think that obviously is always really important when making any work, that has to be memorable. And I think it's so watered down so easily. So it's, kind of nice to start with something that is incredibly memorable.
For sure.
100%.
I love that. And I love a lot of the extensions.
And this was like the social commentary.
Yeah, they would do very like Wendy's-esque and like comment on they don't really have
it's fun to kind of play off of some of these other competitive platforms too.
I also really loved the idea of bringing it into the real world for a minute with a flea market to make it feel a little bit more community feel. I think that's the big idea issue with Craigslist.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, Caitlin's a very big thrifter, vintage shopper. So I'm sure she can relate to this, but it is very in vogue.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the spirit of the campaign. I think a lot of brands fail to live their ethos. So if this is the direction that they're going to, then kind of, do something about it in person as well is a really cool approach. So I thought that was smart. And yeah, it all kind of just ties back to these real social conversations, which I think is the most impactful part of the campaign, right? Like, to her point, like it doesn't really have a social presence. But then, kind of putting some love into their social media, really meeting the audience where they're at, tapping into the attitudes. Again, it kind of just makes me feel like, oh, she's tapped in, like she understands, what the people want.
I think this area is very ripe for like a bigger activation. One thing like I would recommend to other Sarah, if she's watching this, is to really just like study the work that's out in the world and watch the case studies and like look at like award boards. And I feel like if there was like a nice like award board here that like brought an activation to life, like all on one page, that helps like people reviewing, that are like, oh, like she gets it, like she knows like what, how to craft a an award-winning idea, like what, the story, how you tell the story. And I think like that sort of just exposure and like, studying work and loving work, like will kind of come naturally. And I feel like this is a really great place to do it just because the cultural tension is so strong. So yeah.
The community focus is a kind of nice part about this campaign too. There are a couple lines that really hit on investing in your community, which I think is very true about supporting, individual sellers in general. And that is an emotional aspect of the campaign that I think would resonate with a lot of people right now. So I like that it kind of taps into that as well. And yeah, even with like some of these visuals, you're seeing a real community moment. You're seeing real sellers, real people getting money in their pocket.
Yeah. No, love it. And I love the ad of the award board at the end. And it's great that you agree with like the art direction and the writing. I love that it's all bold and just like ties them together in just such a different way to think of Craigslist. We agree with you guys. So we're happy we're all because it's so subjective for sure.
I'd also caveat that anything we say, take with a massive grain of salt, because like exactly what you said, it is so subjective. And I've had campaigns and work where like one instructor love it, another would hate it, and it happens in our day-to-day job. So it's also just developing your own taste and kind of going with your gut.
Totally.
Exactly. It's going to happen forever. That's what we tell our students at the end, especially when so many people are reviewing at the same time. They're like, this teacher said this, you guys are saying this. We're like, at the end of the day, like it is your call. Like it's, if you love it, like, you have to include it. Of course, it has to be on strategy. Of course, it has to be super smart, simple, hit all of these things. But the nitpicky things are so subjective always.
Right.
And always will be. Okay, cool. So this is National Park Service. We absolutely love this. We found it so funny. It actually won Best Humor for one of our award shows that we do at the end. But essentially, it's just, social media, I'll just read it, has skewed our perception of beauty so much that we've forgotten what natural beauty really looks like. NPS will show young people how attractive real beauty is by using the terms they associate with attraction in a more wholesome way. So really, they're just bringing like Gen Z slang and how we actually are talking these days into their campaign.
This one was funny, to your point. Yeah, no, I think we both laughed at this one. Something I was not expecting it though, based on her write-up. She talks about it being wholesome. It is not wholesome. And I love that. I think she should lean into that a little bit more in her write-up. Maybe, set that up a little bit more. Because it is funny and it does, lean into a little bit of like a raunchiness, which is kind of cool.
I know.
I will say Big Beautiful Landscapes did it for me. I loved that one.
Also, the mountains I'd like to find, MLF.
Yeah. I loved that one.
Yeah. No, it's super funny. I definitely laughed. The big old naturals with the mountain was the one that what really did it for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think what Caitlin said is super fair about just like making the intro write up, like, because when Caitlin and I were talking about this on our own, like at first we thought it was going to go into this like sentimental, or like you could do really beautiful long form copy that kind of like flips your perception of landscapes. But I feel like in our previous discussion about like just having fun with it, like maybe this could like lean into the humor even more in the setup and like prime us to see what we're about to see.
I would too, even with the partnership with I hope I pronounced this right, the makeup brand I would go raunchier. Like her tone, it's not like, her tone is raunchier. So I think she could partner with someone a little raunchier in the beauty or dating space, or you know, have a little bit more fun with that. Because again, the write up at the beginning sets it up to be a bit more wholesome, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's more than that in a good way, right? So I think like leaning into that tone in the partnership too could help strengthen this.
Honestly, I feel like this tone would like if what would Liquid Death do, you know, for something like this, maybe like feels right. Of just going really like what's something that like really pushes the boundaries, like if she's going there with like the social lines, like what she is. So like just there I think Caitlin's right. Like if there is like a little like raunchier partner or twist on something, you know, would be hilarious.
I'll say too, I appreciate that the visuals are straightforward because the lines are that kind of misdirect, right? Like the lines are the thing. And you can't have both, right? So I think, you know, that adds to the simplicity of it. And it's a nice kind of juxtaposition to see these like Nat Geo images with like in giant bold letters, right? Like it makes you stop and kind of ask some questions for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit, you know, sarcastic, where it's like almost like stock photos that they just like in a national park's badass pic, you know, and now it's twisted, which I love. But I love the idea of like leaning into the write up more, like leading them to know this is going to be like funny. I love that. That's a great build.
I also wonder like if there's any idea in here that could like raise money for the national parks, you know, like what's an idea that could like increase funding, like so it has like an outcome, you know, like we achieved this with this campaign, you know. So that idea is like, you know, you give park rangers, like you make OnlyFans for park rangers accounts, and they like take like scandalous, like beautiful landscape photos and you know and whatever. So like something like that where it's like it's raising money but it's playing into the campaign, which just like it's really, you know, ripe for this idea.
Yeah, I think to Peter's point, like this is giving OnlyFans more than it's giving like beauty and makeup to me. So lean in, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Maybe the write up can be a little bit more like, what are you a real fan of? Like, are you a fan of nature? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one. We have Pop Mart, which starts with this idea of like talking to your inner child, because we had expectations of adulthood as children, and our hard-earned career money isn't always like getting spent on the most fun things. It's getting spent on things like groceries. So Pop Mart wants to encourage frivolous spending because it brings joy. Spend like a kid is the tag. So it starts with an email from your inner child, and then it goes into some really fun headlines. Revert back to being awesome. Spend like a kid. Your salary is just adult allowance. Spend like a kid. Shop like a 6-year-old who still believes in Santa. Spend like a kid. And joy beats a stocked fridge. Spend like a kid. Even your money will be excited. And then they have the sappy meal with Dunkin' Donuts. All right. So what were your guys' thoughts on Pop Mart?
I think it's super cute, super fun. I think some of the lines are fun, and I think this is like just really like good for Sarah that she has like the really intense tone, right, of like Craigslist, and then she's got something funny with the natural parks, and this is like a little more like charming, you know. So I am seeing like a breadth of like tones that like she can do, which is something like is really very important for a writer's book, especially. So that right off the bat is like really nice to see.
This is going to be a cliche art director thing to say, but something that I've kind of noticed throughout a lot of her work that I really like is her headlines are short. You know, like short to the point. I really liked your salary is just adult allowance. Like it resonates immediately, right? I thought that was funny. And again, kind of plays towards an attitude that is relevant in culture right now as well. There's a lot going on, and sometimes we just need a little joy, right? And people have leaned into Labubu's for that moment of joy. I I like that she even has Pop Mart as a brand too. Like I feel like that in itself is a little bit unexpected and cool, and again super relevant. It's funny, me just coming back from Asia, I'm like Pop Mart and the whole blind box culture is very fresh of mind for me. So to that point, I would push like, is there anything with blind boxes, or like, is there anything else about Pop Mart that makes Pop Mart different than another childish or like toy brand that is marketed towards adults? I think that would be my push for this campaign, is like, can other brands say this, or is this something that's only unique to Pop Mart? And I think Pop Mart has so many cool, insightful, like unique aspects of that brand that like she could lean into some of those, maybe in some headlines or, you know, throughout this campaign in general.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a really good art direction push. I love that. Last one, a new, totally different client, Verizon here. So they wanted to kind of like use Verizon as if they were like the main sponsor for the 2026 World Cup. It's going to bring an influx of international super fans to the US, Mexico, and Canada, which all the games are kind of like in that North America area. But, you know, so many people don't have phone plans that won't work outside their home country. So Verizon will be there to sponsor them with these like special cards, SIM cards. So you can you'll never miss like any important game that you want to see, no matter where you're located at. And they had artists from different countries design like one of a kind SIM cards, which kind of become a little bit of a souvenir in themselves. And then we would just get into the ads to sort of promote all of these things. So best seats to the World Cup, the International Space Station, middle of the Caribbean, center field view, connected by the game, Verizon. I can see the game from here, connected by the game, Verizon. And then we have some spots. But what were your guys' thoughts on the this campaign?
I hope this wasn't her sixth favorite, because I really liked this one.
No, they're like first and last, like couple
Strong
favorite. Yeah.
No, but I thought this was really smart. It's something that I've never really seen before, which is cool. There's so much that's been done in the world of even just like sports and advertising. So like the eSIM way in, super smart. I like that it plays into like the behavior of fandom as well when it comes to the design of the different eSIMs, different artists, you know, representing different teams and things like that. I thought that was really smart. Yeah, I really liked this one.
I love this. So my biggest piece of advice for this, because I think it's such a cool idea and it like deserves it. I'm almost like with at the very beginning, like just have like an award board for this. I feel like World Cup SIM cards like is the name, you know, like that's the name, and then like have your insight, have your idea, have like this is something that like I feel like if it were done and you know would be submitted to Cannes, like I think
Awesome.
so I feel like present it in that way that's like, oh, I get it. World Cup SIM card is the idea, you know, like the out of home is nice, and like like you know all these pieces are nice, but like make these beautiful like you know design SIM cards that like you know give you access to every game that are like in your languages, like tell that story of how you brought the game to an influx of people that are coming into the country who maybe they don't speak English, maybe you know they don't have the right phone plans to like watch every game, but like I feel like opening with that as opposed to like opening with like the SIM card kiosk makes it feel huge, right? Like, and I think this idea is huge, and that would give it what it deserves.
Yeah, this felt like the least traditional idea out of everything in her book.
In a great way.
In a great way. Yeah, like more experiential, thinking more outside the box. Yeah, so I would second Peter.
I can see the case study.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Really good build.
Yeah.
That's great.
Love that. And I couldn't agree more. I think an award board right up front would like really, especially, you know, with recruiters, they're looking at your book in like 2 seconds, you know, and you don't want to miss because they misunderstood and they just
exactly
time to get into it, you know?
Exactly. I don't want anyone to like misunderstand like the genius that like this could be of just world cuts and cards, and like make it look exciting. Like you could see it and like you're like, oh, this is like, you know, because there is a little bit of that, like when people are looking at your book, is like, can they do the campaigns? Can they do traditional? Can they do social? And then there's that like, can they do that like award work too? And I feel like just having something that can show that I wish I did that. Like I didn't really understand it. But I think like if I, you know, studied the work or like just understood that like side to the business too, and could craft something that kind of like emulates that. I think it puts you in a really great spot for recruiters and, you know, creative directors who are looking at your book.
I would put it earlier.
And earlier.
I would put it earlier for the people like me who are going cover to cover.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. No, you guys had so many fantastic builds.
Really did. Great.
We did our homework.
I'm sure I wanted to do it justice too. I know like how much heart and time and effort goes into these books. And she did a really great job overall. So
yeah, if there was one piece of advice we could give to Sarah and other juniors kind of looking to put their first agency book together, what do you think we could take from this conversation?
You go first.
I would say keep it simple and, you know, figure out the one thing that you want someone to take away from it and make sure it's at the top. I think people are looking through these really fast, maybe not reading a lot. So make it short, make it sweet, and make it clear.
I'm going to borrow something, the most cliched phrase that we were talking about, but it's true. The just have fun with it notion, because it bleeds into everything. And, you know, like the presentation of the website is Sarah having fun with it. Her write-ups, you know, like the work itself, like if you're bored making something, or if you're bored, like the way you're presenting it, like just like get outside of your head a little bit and just be like, how can I make this like an enjoyable process and like, you know, make it fun to do, because that will reflect in the work. So it's the ultimate cliche, but I think the way we've kind of weaved it in the context of like someone's portfolio is important. I think Sarah does a really good job of like having fun.
Yeah, it's entertaining, which at the end of the day, like that's what we're always striving to do, is entertain people. So I like that about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time. This was really fun. This is one of the most fun conversations we've had, so we really appreciate it. And a big thanks to Sarah for letting us go through your book with a fine-tooth comb again. We really appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your January and get back to making awesome work yourselves.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.